Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Jungle Booster live weekly training. We'll be underway in just a minute. Just moving over from, like we say every week, the previous session, which we're up. My name's Nathan. I run this Jungle Booster online session every week. I've been running them for almost a year now, which is really cool. We talk everything Amazon FBA and launching physical products online. This week's session will be a shorter session than usual, as a lot of things are going on at the moment. We are all gearing up and ready to launch our sessions. G'day, Paul. Launch our businesses on Amazon this year. We're being treated like mushrooms at the moment in the dark and fed the proverbial. We're not really getting a lot of information as to when Amazon is launching and how they're going to. We've pretty much been told September and that's it. We don't even know if that's 100% true yet, what they're actually going to be launching, whether that's going to be open to us third-party sellers then as well, or people who have already sold or people who haven't sold, if you're part of a big box, all that sort of stuff. So there's nothing really out there just yet as to what launching on Amazon in Australia is going to entail. What we've been talking about for the last few sessions, I'll jump back to myself for a moment, is what we've done so far in launching our businesses in the US, so on Amazon.com. A few people in the group are also on Amazon.co.uk as well. I even know a guy that's launched in Amazon in Japan because of proximity, and he had an Aussie product that was doing really well in Japan. Really cool bottle opener thing. Anyway, we meet every week. So if you are new, welcome to the Jungle Booster meetup. Every week we meet online in these sessions. It's junglebooster.com/live or /replay. If you're watching this on the replay, you can chat in the chat box to your left, my right. And there are some tools, resources down below. And if you're watching this on the replay, you can go down to all the way down to the bottom, scrolling mouse noise. And there is a chat box in the bottom there that you can chat in there. It's a Facebook one. So you just put your comment in there and you can talk directly to me anytime, no matter what, when that is. The join the chat, live chat at the top is when we're on live. Housekeeping out of the way, this is the Jungle Booster session. We are doing an in-between-isode this time around, and we're just going to talk Amazon FBA, what I'm up to, what the current plans are, what we can do between now and, g'day Shane, now and when Amazon does launch finally here in Australia. It's very exciting. If you are new here and you're wondering what all these funny words that are coming out of my mouth are, Amazon is obviously the largest online store, online retailer, online presence for buying physical products in the Western world. It's not the biggest in the world, but it is one of the biggest in the world. It's definitely the biggest in the US, definitely ginormous in the UK. Isn't available here in Australia. Now, a lot of people go, huh? Yeah, it is. Amazon.com.au, yes, it exists. Amazon.com.au is actually just for Kindle. It doesn't actually have any physical products. So if you go onto Amazon.com.au and type iPad, or you'll get a whole bunch of books for your iPad. If you type teapot, you'll get a book about a teapot. You won't get any teapots. If you go into Amazon.com and type stainless steel, you get a million products. Stainless steel straws, stainless steel colanders, stainless steel pots. So that's the difference. What that means in the back end, the difference is Amazon do fulfillment, FBA, fulfillment by Amazon. They do the warehousing, shipping, packing, all that sort of stuff for physical products and kind of any product under the sun. New, used, resold, wholesale, all that sort of stuff. They're pretty much just a big clearance warehouse for everything. And they do everything extremely well, extremely quick, and extremely beneficial to the customer. And that's why they're so big, because everything is about the customer. Refunds for no reason whatsoever. I didn't like this. All right, take it down to the chemist, who is a registered Amazon return agent. Just drop it off. They'll scan it. You'll get your money back in your account straight away. That's how good their customer service is. I didn't like this. I didn't like the color. I don't like the smell. I just changed my mind. down the road, done. That's how good Amazon is. In the US, they do a thing called Amazon Prime. Now, I think they do deals where it's cheaper, but I'm pretty sure you pay $100 a year and $99 a year. And as a stack, if you think of things like we've got Netflix or QuickFlix or Telstra TV, all that sort of stuff that we've got down here in Australia, these are media bundles that you'll get your home phone plus 6 months Netflix and your mobile or something for a bundle kind of thing. So there are a lot of services in the US like that, and Amazon has come on board to do that kind of thing as well because they have so much access to media. They do Amazon Prime, which gives you membership to them, which gives them access to customers and repeat customers, which is the whole idea of all these bundle things anyway. But they give you unlimited books. They'll give you unlimited. They'll give you access to books and media. They've got videos and music streaming services and all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of part of what Prime really is. What their Prime is on Amazon.com, that Prime service gives you for your $99 a year, free, unlimited, free, 2-day shipping anywhere in the US. Now, I don't think they're going to bring that and launch that here in Australia away. They'll definitely bring the service, but I don't think they'll bring that service level, if you know what I mean. We do not have the infrastructure or the logistics set up to that. If they do that, it's going to be one of the greatest things that Australia's ever seen. It's going to be a huge boon for online commerce, a huge boon for consumer value and things like that. It's going to be great for us customers who want to buy stuff. If anyone has dealt with Australia Post recently, it's not the easiest service to deal with as a customer. They're certainly not set up to be customer first like Amazon is. So they are bringing that service here. I think over time they will introduce their Prime to Australian customers as well, but that will give us the access to all that sort of stuff. So the streaming services and the books, and hopefully the free shipping, free, cheap, fast, efficient, excellent shipping model as well. Now, what does that actually mean to us as potential sellers? So business people who want to capitalize on this huge growth market and lots of buying and selling going on. So when Amazon launches here, and like they have done in the US and the UK, they allow third-party sellers. So you can go and create your own account on Amazon and put up listings, kind of like what eBay does as well, or Etsy, or even Gumtree and things like that. So it's a kind of a similar model to that, but they have 100 times the amount of traffic, and it's set up like online stores, very specific to where it is. People know and like and trust and know how to buy on there. 99% of people think they're actually buying from Amazon, not from a third-party seller. So that gets them additional trust. Amazon's built on this review system, so that peer-to-peer, if you want to buy a product now, apparently Amazon is one of the first places data-wise that people actually go to search for products. I've started doing it myself since I've found out how good it is. I don't search Google anymore for products. 9 times out of 10, if you search a popular product, you'll get Amazon listings come up in Google anyway, and that's the power of Amazon's internal pay-per-click model that it has. But we'll get into that in some future sessions. But if you're searching for a product and you actually want to get insight into how good it is, or how long it is, or what's wrong with it, or is it strong enough to do the thing that I want it to do, or what color is it, what's it smell like, what's it taste like, how does it fit, all that sort of stuff. Those are the objections you would normally have to purchasing something online. Take clothes, for example. If you wanted to purchase a nice shirt or a dress, you weren't sure it was going to fit properly, you go onto Amazon and say, this type of dress, and you'll see hundreds, if not thousands, of reviews of people who have purchased it and said, I liked how it fit on here, or I didn't like how it was tied on here, and I've got long arms, and the sleeves were actually really good. It's like, oh, a long sleeve shirt, and said, yes, long sleeve, and it actually fit, that sort of stuff. So you get real customer reviews from real people, and it's much more easy to believe and get over the objections, which is why the model works online and why people are moving away from stores and why this thing is going off. So them bringing that service here is great. Them bringing a a whole bunch of their own nous and testing on what actually works, how to grow customers, how to grow lists, how to grow traffic, how to do upsells and downsells and card upgrades and all that sort of stuff, and remarketing and retargeting and all that sort of stuff that they do that you should do on an e-commerce store, but is really hard and takes a lot of time, trust me. They do all that for us. You just need to put your product up there, and if you're just launching, give them some money for pay-per-click, and pretty much you'll be on the money with sales if you've done your research right. So we get into a little bit more detail in some other sessions as well. We've had these sessions go every Tuesday night. We go through a 7-step process. Kind of in line with the rapid startup process, we go through the 7 days to start up. I can't guarantee 7 days to launching your product on Amazon. It does take a little bit longer than that, but we go through 7 steps anyway. I've lined them up to that 7-day model. I have managed to launch a product from 0 to Amazon in 7 weeks. So that gives you an indication, but that's out of the norm as well. So it does take a little bit of time. If Amazon's going to be launching in October or September, October timeframe, then we've got Chinese New Year right now. If you're going to be sourcing your product from China, where prices are still very good for products, you want to be getting it from there, sending it here, and then sending it into Amazon. So there is some logistical time frames that need to be taken into account. China's New Year has just happened, but most people take a month off in around that. So it's usually March before the factories are back online and answering all their calls. And then if they've taken a month off from, what was it, the 26th or 27th or something of 28th, something of January was the Chinese New Year itself. They'll come back at the end of February, but then they've got a month worth of backlog of people going, where's my stuff? What's happening? Why? So it's very busy for them when they come back as well. So March is epically busy as well. So don't dilly-dally. If you are planning on launching when they launch, there's not a lot of details as to whether we're even going to be able to launch day one when they do launch here and what you can and can't do. There's no way to sign up yet. There's no doing it right now. Trust me, they move really fast, so it could happen overnight. But I'm pretty certain they will do a soft launch. I'm also pretty certain that they'll do some kind of build up to it as well. So they'll try and get people on board. They'll be doing outreach to, your big W's and your Kmarts and stuff like that to try and get a lot of the easy big ticket items and large volume on there, where all of those people could literally say, import their listings for toasters and haberdashery and media and all that sort of stuff. They could pretty much list those and do fulfillment by merchant. And those sort of stores already have their online fulfillment set up for them anyway. So Amazon could turn on with all of those listings pretty much overnight, and people could buy things from there and they'd be fulfilled by Kmart. So that the Kmart would then get an order, Kmart would box that up and send it out. And I mean, a lot of people still do fulfillment by merchant, that's called, where you physically have the product yourself. You're just using Amazon as the place to sell it, kind of like the eBay model. That's exactly how eBay does it as well. So that would get them to launch. But that's not where the power is going to be for us. The power for us is us not being part of the business, just being part of the product. So we're sending the product into Amazon. Amazon does everything else. So that's the model we're hoping for. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to launch that first up, but if working back from that date, let's say we needed to get it in a few weeks, if not a month before launch. Now, September, October, November is Q4. It's the hugely busiest time. If they're going to be launching Q4, which is the right thing for them to do, it's the busy time. That's the time they are going to do it. Toys, Christmas presents, all that sort of stuff is bananas. And we have no indication of that if that's going to be the case, but that's just what happens in all of the other markets that are already existing. They put embargoes on what you can and can't send and how long it takes, and things take a lot longer. If they're going to be launching, I think things are going to be slow. They're going to have all sorts of teething issues to work through as well. So let's say they're launching in September. We need to have our product in a month beforehand. That's August. we need to test our product. We need to get it shipped from China. So let's say, working backwards, we're going to get it sent from China to Australia. Now that can be a couple of days if we're going by ship, a couple of months. So let's say we're going to be shipping directly in. Let's give it 2 weeks. So we're halfway through July now. So mid-July, we've finished our product. So let's go back through the manufacturing process. Let's say it's a month to go through testing, so quality assurance and manufacturing. So we're back to the middle of June. So middle of June, we've worked out that we want the product and we've got them to make it. So I'm kind of working backwards and taking you back through. So we're at the factory now and we're just about to tell them to make it. So what happens before that is we need to test some samples. So I'm working back from day 7 or step 7 of the process and coming back through to try and give you an indication of how long it's going to take us to get our stuff in there. So we're in the middle of June and we're about to order our product to be made in the thousands. So prior to that, we need to get samples. Now, if you're lucky, your first samples will come through and you'll be like, these are awesome, send them in, or make me 1,000 or make me 2,000, or yes, I'm happy with that. And if the samples that you've gotten were to give you a modification, then that manufacturing time can actually be longer than a month. So let's go with a month. So samples. I have had some good stories and some bad stories on samples. So some samples I got for a supplement product that I was bringing to market. I'm going to this year. I was going to bring it to market last year, but we had some issues. They are good in one way. So the product itself is great, but everything else, the manufacturer, the turnaround time, the relationship, the packaging, the ability to be flexible with packaging and all sorts of other services. So literally putting powder in a capsule, they are spot on, but that's not the product. The product is everything in a box, nicely packaged up, sent over to Amazon. So they can't do anything else but put the packaging in, put the powder in a white capsule really easily, like really well. They do that part really well. There's so much more to this. So they failed in that for me. It's not necessarily their fault. It's what I require from a manufacturer to make it easier for me and more cost effective for me as well. So that process took about a month for me to get to I'm not happy. Now, a month to get to I'm not happy, I'm going to need to change suppliers. Could be another month, and I could end up with not happy again. So let's say it takes a month to communicate, work out what you want, play them back and forth around each other, how long, minimum order quantities. I'm going to rush through this pretty fast, but just to give you an idea, we're going to talk to them. We're going to start a relationship, 2 or 3 days of talking back and forth, how much, this, that. I'm the purchaser for Junglebooster. We are a blah, blah, blah brand. We've been selling here, and here. We're looking for some new manufacturers. My boss has asked me to get this kind of a price from you guys, or this kind of a quantity. Can I get some tests from you, some samples? I need to check it out. And I want to go back to him and say, I can do this. What can you do to help me out? That's me putting a middleman, i.e. myself, in between myself and the manufacturer, so that when he comes back and says the absolute maximum I can do is this price for this minimum order quantity, and he says, oh, okay, let me go and talk to my boss. Oh, my boss has said no, sorry, if we could do it this, maybe, but otherwise. So you've got a little bit of play, you can do it that way. That back and forth can take about a week, maybe even 2 before you get, great, here's some money. Can I have those samples, please? Definitely pay to play when it comes down to samples. We talked about samples in last week's session as well. We've got about a month of getting that back and forth. It can take 2 or 3 days, can take 4 or 5 days to get samples sent in and around Australia from China. If you have something of interest to customs, now I sent some supplements. Let me back up. I sent I don't have one here. Let's say let's say I sent a stainless steel, not this got a quality probably, but I sent a stainless steel coffee cup to myself from China. It took around, not that quality, it took around 3 days. They said, we have shipped, here's the shipping detail. 3 days later, it was at my door. I sent some supplements. They actually took a lot less time because they were really small, lightweight. So the box was this big. That's actually quite small. 3 containers inside. They shipped that, and it was out of China in hours, whereas the stainless steel took, I think it took them a day to organize that. So overnight before they got me the tracking details. So outbound was fine. It took 2 days to leave China. It took 1 day in the air, and then it took 6 days at customs to come through. Now the customs, I didn't get any notifications. I didn't get any, there was no stickers on here saying flagged or anything like that. It just literally took that long, and I could follow it through the tracking. Delayed. And these are standard, we're not telling you why, and we're not going to, and we don't need to, information from customs. So they're literally, I don't know, they x-rayed it or put it under some sort of scanner, or I don't know. They held it up. It took a long time. So all that to say, let's give it a month for samples. And I think that's a realistic, if not optimistic quote for that. So if I can remember correctly, we were in the middle of June. If we take a month off that, May, we are now in the middle of May, which is 3 months from now. And we're at samples. So what can we do between now and the middle of May to decide that we're going to go and find samples of a bottle or samples of an iPhone case? Don't do those. A sample of a garlic press, don't do those either. We need to do product research. We need to understand how this business model works. We need to go and buy something from Amazon in the US to test it out. If you've tested things on Amazon before, if you sold things on Amazon before, awesome. But if you're brand new to this, I think you need to do a lot more immersion before you confidently go to Alibaba and start asking for samples and paying for them. So how do we find a product? Now, 2 weeks ago, we did the first session of this, junglebooster.com/live. You're there now on the replay. Hit the subscribe on YouTube, and you can go and watch all the previous ones as well. We talked about making a list, checking it twice, of finding things that you are in and around that you might be able to bring some kind of market research from yourself into the product. So do you think this is going to work? There's a bit of gut feel to it as well. This is a bit of, oh, actually, this kind of works, but I wish it was longer or lighter, or this is one for me at the moment. I really hate that. This is a close to $50 drink bottle, just stainless steel water bottle. It's fantastic. It's excellent. I love it, except this. Like if I'm out somewhere, now it sounds very petty, but if I'm out somewhere or I'm meeting with somebody or I'm talking to you guys, I've probably just deafened half of you. And I apologize for that. But what I'm trying to show you there is this is an expensive bottle, and it has a really, really annoying feature that needs to be fixed. And if someone fixes it, it'll solve the problem for people like me. I'm sure there's others that think that these are too loud and won't use them. They won't be able to take them to a meeting because they can't take the lid on and off. They're waiting, they're really thirsty, and someone's talking. They can't open the bottle. They're really thirsty. It's so loud. Everyone's going to look at me. That kind of thing. So those are the types of things that you can be on the lookout for to bring something to market that hasn't been done before, and you're solving someone's problem. Now, if you don't think serendipity is going to strike on you like that and give you things, you can actually go and find them yourself. You can actually go and search. So Amazon.com, where 95% of Amazon's traffic is still to this day, where their reviews are, you can go and search for the top 100 and start to get ideas. You can go further down in the top 100, and what you're looking for are the 3-star reviews of products. So pick a niche, pick any niche. So something simple to get into is kitchen, home and kitchen, or sports and outdoors. barbecue and things like that. Those are very popular. Like think Bunnings, Kmart, and Big W. That kind of stuff is very popular. Have a look at them on the weekend. Like they're just heaving with people, sausages and hot dogs and stuff out the front. Like it's absolutely heaving with people because this is commodity stuff that gets bought all the time, and there are good margins in them. That's why those businesses are absolutely booming, because high turnover, reasonably good margin, commoditized products. So those are the types of things that do really well on Amazon. Not necessarily you should go and sell all of those top products because you're guaranteed that there's a lot of other people doing the same thing. But that's the kind of stuff that's really easy to get into. There's low barriers to entry to that. Again, high competition when low barriers to entry, but you don't need to go through any sort of certification. You don't need any sort of certificates on your business or the products or tests or anything done. You don't need to prove anything around the TGA, FDA. It's not a supplement. You've got no chance of killing somebody with it, which you end up getting very sued for, and then you have to live with yourself. So I don't recommend doing any of those sort of things out of the bat. If you're doing anything like food supplements and stuff, you need to get certified. You need to prove. You need to get what's called in Amazon ungated as well. So if you keep it simple, between now and May, there's plenty of time for you to do analysis. There's some tools like Jungle Scout, which is below. I've also got a few other things down there as well, I think that you can use to speed up this process as well. Jungle Scout is an excellent tool for product research, but I think between now and the middle of May, you might even have your first round of samples as well. In that time, if you've been exposed to this before, you could potentially even test a product in Amazon.com before they launch here. But just to give you an indication, guys, September isn't a long time away. They may not launch in September, but if you want to be prepared and ready for September, it's not that long to go. There is 3 months, 90 days between now and when you need to be executing on samples that come back that hopefully are correct, that you can say, go ahead quick so we can make it on time. So that's a really quick session this evening, guys, on getting ourselves ready. What's next for Amazon? What's next for Amazon FBA in Australia? We're still not 100% sure on what, when, and how, but all indications are pointing towards a September launch. They are launching with one factory, or one warehouse, I should say, only, which is in Sydney at the moment. Now, that's what they've told us. It could be 7 of them built between now and then, but I doubt it. Losing my voice. So, are you going to be launching on Amazon this year? Let me know in the chat box. I'm always interested to hear people who are taking the leap in this awesome business model. It's going to be a huge year, guys. It really is. It was a huge year last year. I have sold out of all bar one of my product lines on Amazon, and because of the Chinese New Year and all the other things that I've got going on at the moment, I haven't even stocked back in yet, which is crazy. I'm losing so much opportunity at the moment. But what I've decided is I'm pooling my resources at the moment to launch when they launch here. So I have backed off of Paul says see you tomorrow. Thanks, Paul. Yes, so if you are in Perth in Western Australia, if you're watching this live, tomorrow night we are meeting in person. We're going to be talking about specifically more about samples. So that is the next big step once you've done your product research, is getting some samples and talking to your suppliers, starting a relationship. So if you are in Perth, north of the river, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Western Standard Time, if you're in Perth. So we meet up every fortnight on Wednesday. So you can come along and say good day and talk all things Amazon. But last year was a huge year. There were so many changes, so many massive bombshells dropped, changing the approach to listings, all sorts of things on combating, let's call it combating hijackers, which was huge. So you put a product up and say, I'm XYZ brand, here's my XYZ product, and then it's got a little buy box. And then the next day it's, hi, I'm ABC brand, I'm selling XYZ product. Huh? No, you can't. What? How did and undercutting you on price and basically stealing all your sales. So that kind of thing was pretty rife and rampant for quite some time, very hard to block. Amazon would say, well, it's the same product. What's your problem? The customer gets what they want. That's fine. So there's all sorts of things, ninja things you could do to stop that. But eventually it got to the point where customers were getting hurt. So Amazon stepped in and changed that. So there's some brand gating that happened. Some people who got kicked out of retail arbitrage. So there was like a lot more brands were covering themselves. So things like Nikes and stuff like that had stopped it completely. A whole bunch of people lost their businesses because they were doing literally arbitrage. They were going down to Walmarts and sale prices and bargain bins and scanning their products and sending it in, making lots of money. Effectively, Amazon quashed a lot of that and killed off a lot of small cottage industries in the process, which was huge. That was a massive bombshell. And then towards the end of the year, they banned incentivized reviews, which meant you couldn't go to some of these review buying services and say, hey, I'm launching a new garlic press. Can you give me 500 reviews? Sure, that'll be $500 or $1,000. And if you had thousands of products going in and you were going to make $50,000, of course you'd pay $1,000 for 500 reviews, which would launch your product into the stratosphere and you'd make your money back like really, really fast. That was happening all over the place. So that was the Wild West, and that's been banned. So Amazon saw that as hurting their platform and killing that whole real reviews thing. So they've stopped that completely. And that was kind of an overnight decision as well. In one foul swoop, I think they deleted hundreds of thousands of reviews as well that had clearly broken the rules on being paid for and not a real review. So lots of businesses lost a lot of their reviews on their listings. Some got slapped for doing the wrong things. Some got wiped out for doing the wrong thing. And effectively, everyone ran for the hills thinking this is doomsday because how are they going to launch products now if we can't incentivize reviews? So we're back to the old way of doing things, which is, I think, the right way of doing things, building an email list, launching slowly and building up. So that's what we're back to. That's all happened last year. This year, they're going to launch in Australia, which is huge as well. And there'll be other big bombshells like that as well. So it's a very exciting time. It's a great business model. It's an easy business model to start. I wouldn't say it's an easy business model to be successful in, but it's something if you do stick to it and get it right, then it's something that can be very, very powerful. And it's probably one of the fastest business models I've seen go from 0 to 6 figures. And there's hundreds, if not thousands of stories, whether they're true or not, of people going from 0 to 7 figures in a couple of months. So you can go and find those as well. I try and keep it a bit more respectable. I show you my numbers. They're not ginormous by any means. And I certainly haven't spent a lot of time on this biz. I did focus on it last year, so it actually was successful last year. I have been doing it for 2 years. First year was, there was no focus whatsoever. And I was getting into it as the gold rush was ending, thinking the gold rush was still happening, which was a bad time. So it was a lot slower than I expected at first. But when I did focus on it and do the right things, build the list, launch properly, Q4 last year was epic. Sold out of everything. It was awesome. All right. That ended up being almost a longer session. I hope that was useful, guys. I did want to give you an in-between episode. So we are meeting tomorrow night to talk all things samples. This is day 2 we're up to, or the second lesson of the 7. Next week, we'll get into day 3, which is creating your Amazon account. So we are going to kick off with how do you create an Amazon account? We'll create an account at Amazon.com. You can't create a seller account on Amazon.com.au yet. Having said that, by the time we hit next Tuesday, maybe they've opened it to beta or something. I doubt it, but we'll create the account where you actually we'll talk about what sort of account do you need, a personal, do you need a marketing account, that sort of stuff. So we'll go through setting up the account on Amazon next week. All right. Hope that was useful, guys. I'll leave the comment box open if you have any further questions for me. If you're watching this on the replay, you can comment down below and it goes straight to me. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week.